Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, Fashion Dolls. We having so many technical difficulties. Please forgive me, y'all. I'm sorry for my lateness. I apologize, Fashion Dolls. I was in here battling with an eyelash, trying to make sure that everything is right. Let's get this show started for today with our very special guest. Our very special guest is a Compton, California native, and that is his newest hit single, which you guys can hear everywhere, which is Change, featuring Alonda Rich. I'm super excited to be doing this interview with our beautiful, handsome Compton, California native by the name of Carvil Bond. He is here to talk about his newest hit single, Change, which is a very social construct song. So make sure you guys tune in. Share this live. I need you guys to share this live. I apologize about my tardiness. You guys know being a woman is not easy. I had to fight with an eyelash, literally, y'all. So that's why it took me a little bit. But he is here with us. So let's get this interview started, ladies and gentlemen. And as you guys know, today's show is sponsored by Exclusive Beauty Hair Store. So make sure you guys go and check out the newest cosmetics line, Lush Cosmetics. And let's get into it, Fashion Dolls. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Dollhouse. How are you?
I'm blessed. Pleasure to be here with you.
It is such a pleasure to finally meet you. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, Carvil Bond is here, and he's here to talk about his newest hit single, Change. So before we get into the song, which is a very powerful song, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about Carvil. So is it true that you grew up in Compton, California?
I grew up in Compton for the most part of my childhood. I grew up in foster care. So I lived a little bit of any and everywhere in LA County, you know. So for the most part, in my stable part of my life, for the most part, yes, I was raised in Carvil.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters?
3 sisters.
Okay. So with that upbringing, what made you want to get into writing music, producing music, doing so many things?
Writing music, I've been writing music for quite some time now. You know, I would say really since childhood. Coming up in school, battling, schoolyard battles. Writing just came a little, not necessarily naturally. It was kind of induced in me through discipline. One of my foster mothers, Ruby Vance, one of her measures or one of her disciplinary tactics for us coming up was writing. So if you came home from school in a fight, as opposed to putting that belt on your ass, you have your writing. So I was a troublemaker. So coming up, I did quite a bit of writing. At one time, I think I might have got into a school fight, and she almost had me rewrite the whole Bible. It took me a few months, but I almost completed it.
So that kind of skilled you and made you kind of the person who you are today, which is more importantly a great artist, and not just a great artist, but a great producer, a great songwriter, all of these things and more. So who are some of your musical influences?
Musical influences. I would say right up, surprisingly, maybe to a lot of people, Sade. I remember one time me and a group of my partners, we went into the Compton swap meet and we shoplifting. And this was my first time, doing something like this. I was a little, reluctant and scared to, do what they were seasoned doing. And on my way out the Compton swap meet, I picked up a Sade tape and took it home and played it. And I ended up playing that. It became like the soundtrack of my life. And it was the album Diamond Life, the one with Diamond Life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and just listening to the depthness of her songs and everything that I was going through, even as an adolescent, resonated with me, listening to her music. So a lot of the influence of her music impacted me in my writing, just in the depthness of it, the emotional in-depthness of her, of her song, of her writing, impacted me a great deal right off the top. Scarface, as a writer, uh, Nas, as a writer. I can go on and on. The list is long. I grew up with a roommate of mine. He was in the heavy metal, rock and roll music. So as a roommate, his music influenced, my music and what I was listening to. So I listened to a lot of Pink Floyd, and listening to the, again, the depthness of their music, the expansion of their music, the lyrical content of their music influence a lot of what, I bring into my writing laboratory when I do my thing. So there's a host of different people that have really impacted me in terms of writing, depending on what angle I'm coming from, where I'm pulling from, in terms of, what I lay down on track.
Okay. I would have thought that you would have went for Sade and Pink Floyd. Like, you have a very eclectic taste in music, and you kind of remind me of one of my guests that I had on in the past. Shout outs to Mike from the hit group 112. He has a very keen ear for music as well too. Like, he has a very eclectic taste in music. Like, you never would have thought that he would have been in opera or of course gospel and rock music. Like, he has a very eclectic taste. Like, I thought with you it was strictly hip hop. So I apologize for that, because it's always a misconception on artists that you have to be in this certain category all the time. And I say that all the time. Like, every artist has their transition period of, okay, what am I going to do for the next album? What am I going to do for the next hit single? What is going to make me different, or what is it going to make different that my fans are going to want to go and stream this and check it out? But this song, Change, which we'll get to, we'll get into it, ladies and gentlemen. But how do you feel about the current state of hip hop? Because it has changed so much. It's not the way it was back then.
The current state of hip hop, everyone has their lane, and things change. We all change, music changes, the world changes, and as you stated, the landscape of hip hop has changed quite a bit. I like the evolution of hip hop as it presents itself today. What I would like to see more in hip hop today is content, just the diversity in content, and a lot less of the materialism of hip hop, and just bringing in a lot of the more social consciousness of hip hop, pulling from that part of our ancestry in this industry, in this music genre, bringing, especially in this day and time with everything that's going on in the world around us. I think a lot of more social consciousness type of messages need to be brought through. And it's not always, it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So you can still come from the streets. You can still bring, that element of the block, alongside the social consciousness part of it. I mean, we've heard enough of a lot of everything else. The messages that need to be brought across today, in my opinion, need to be more, more mind-provoking,
I agree with you on that 100%. And from what I've seen in hip hop currently right now, it's like, I'm just going to say it, I'm going to be blunt about it because we are bold and we're outspoken here on my show. It's bitches and bottles. And it doesn't have a message, a meaning. Like, it's not social construct, whereas you have artists like, and I'm going to name a few, name drop, Yo-Yo and Tupac and Kendrick Lamar and all of these artists who are just social construct and using their platform to bring awareness to what's going on. And I know for you as a black man that is in the rap game, in the rap industry, it's a lot of obstacles that you have to cross to get where you have to be. And I know it's difficult for a lot of male hip hop artists out here. And not just for me being a woman, it's difficult for me as well. So just being black in general with the current state that we're in. This song, Change, is a powerful song featuring Alonda Rich. How did the collaboration come together with the two?
I reached out to Dream Life, which is the production company behind the song Change. And once I listened to a lineup of music from Dream Life, and Change is something that resonated with me, in my selection of music with them. And from there, it kind of just grew its own legs. A lot of what I write to in terms of music is music that, again, that resonates with me and experience, music that resonates with me in terms of, how I want to project or how I want to speak out to the world in my message. Change was something that, again, was a collaboration between me and Alonda. And, once it was brought together, it kind of grew its own legs, and, you hear what you hear now with it.
Absolutely. It's a powerful song, and it's not like other music videos. Like, the imagery, the aesthetic, everything in this music video is completely different than other music videos that I've seen, where it's just like, okay, we're going to show pictures of Trayvon Martin and George Floyd and things like that, like Black trauma, but your video is still powerful and it has a message to it, but it's not so, how can I say it? It doesn't state the obvious about Black trauma, because we've seen so much this year with the protests that's going on, to the injustice that is in our country. It's a whole lot out here going on right now, and this song is what we need. We need something like this. And just to get us through, Black people in general, because we've suffered so much, 500 years of oppression to be exact, and it's just like the system is still against us. Mass incarceration for our kings, our Black men out here, the killings of our Black women. And it's difficult for me, being a Black woman myself, and having to walk down the road or being labeled as she's aggressive, she's a bitch. And for you being a Black man, I know you get the threats, the stares, all of these things, and then some. So just being Black in America is a crime. So your song Change is doing something. Shout outs to my girl Savage Beauty. She is a bomb ass makeup artist. And shout outs to our makeup artist here, Melanie Nalamai Bridgerin. Hey, check out the new, oh, I definitely will. Another artist, make sure you guys go and check out my interview I did with VLone88. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to his channel. Shouting out all the Black content creators and businesses in here. Please go and follow these people. But we're just talking about Carvil's newest hit single, Change. If you guys have not seen the video, if you guys have not heard the audio, please go and check it out. And we love you too, VLone. We love all of my dolls here at Style by Stevie. So again, shout outs to the glam for getting me right. It's not easy, but shout outs to Melanie Nalamai Bridges for always making sure that we're beautiful every episode. But this song Change, what was the writing process like for you? Because I know every hip-hop artist, every R&B artist has to have their element, their zone when they're writing their music.
For me, change came a little, it came naturally for me, because I was speaking from my own personal desire for change. Change starts with self, with that look in the mirror, and so in order to externalize change, you got to internalize the change, so I was speaking from my inner voice, my own personal experience, my own personal desire for my change, in order for that change to then, transform into what would be, possibly a piece of the change that's needed around us, collectively. And with that, just, in what I have been able to use as a means for my change is spiritual guidance. Everyone has their choice in what they will use as a discipline in order to make change in their life. We all have our different choices in our guiding lights. So for me, spiritualism, not religion per se, but just having a spiritual awakening about myself in order for me to open up myself to change. you know, trying to lifting myself up from the material things of this world and elevating my thought, is what motivated the lyrical content of change, personal experiences that have set me back in my life, people around me as a consequence of, choices I've made that have affected others. I've made a lot of changes in my life that weren't always a positive impact, so in sitting back and looking back and reflecting, the changes that I needed to make needed to be positive changes, that will then, spread to others that were affected by my negative changes, so you hear in the song lyrics that really are really pointing to me, and then if they're able to transcend onto others, to have them look at themselves first for that first step of change in order to again have effective change, in the world and to others in the world.
My next question for you is, if you could change 5 things in the world, what would that be?
5 things. Right off the top, I would like to change the conditions of our people,
Yes.
And by saying that, starting off with the mindset of our people, our school of thought, our train of thought. And so there, from that point, we can go forward. Again, the change starts with mind, so just changing the mindset of our people collectively. We have a lot of individual people doing a thing that are highlights, but without the collective on board, it really doesn't shine as bright of a light as it should. If we were to start collectively as a people, as a grouping, looking at ourselves individually as a nation of people that can then change their mind state, and then we start seeing the changes in the world around us. Secondly, I would want to change the state of the music industry in terms of how they the lack of promotion, the lack of support of positive messages in our music. Taking back control of that. To where it's not so one track minded or one track delivery of of this form of music that we call hip hop. I don't know, 5 things, thirdly, in the world, I would like to see, I would like to see a lot more, I guess, wow, 5 things in the world, I'll leave it at, I'll leave it at those 2. I'll leave it at those 2.
And I agree with you 100% on the conditions of us as African Americans, as Black people. We haven't been treated the best. We've been turned away from so many different things. And I also would love to see change within that, not just within what we're going through with the government. That system, that's a whole different conversation. But with healthcare and so many different things when it comes to people, because there's so many people who've lost their families, who've lost their jobs, who've lost their homes. And they just looking for some sort of hope, some sort of relief. And that's what we need more than anything. So I agree with you on that 100%. It's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Exactly.
So my next question for you is, what are 5 things that we don't know about you?
5 things you don't know about me. 5 things you don't know about me. Well, off the top, I'm a father, Secondly, I'm a healthcare professional, ironically, you see me here smoking. We all have our vices.
Shout outs to these essential workers. You're good.
But I'm also, exactly, I'm a first responder. Thirdly, let's see here. My roots, you know, my family roots are from the South. You hear me, you know, like I said in the introduction, you know, I was raised in Compton. I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. So, you know, you know, all my, you know, a lot of my influence comes out the South. You know, I recorded a lot of music in Atlanta, you know, so, you know, that's, you know, I'm always gravitating, you know, from the West Coast back to the South. Let's see, fourthly. What about me? You know, I'm not as in look. A lot of people have the perception, if you just, you know, if you casually peripheral look at me, you'll think that I'm, you know, someone that's, you know, like kind of offstandish, or, you know, some people kind of perceive me sometimes just from demeanor that I'm mean or sometimes angry or what have you. I don't always, you know, smile a lot. You got to give me something to smile about. But, you know, I'm really pretty much, you know, you know, I'm soft as drugstore cotton. You know, I'm really, you know, a people person once you get to know me. Was that the fourth one?
Uh-huh.
Fifth one. Let's see. A fifth one. I don't know. I like seafood. You know, so there you go. 5 things about me that you didn't know.
I kind of chuckled and laughed at it at first because I was like, oh my God, you're reading my mind. At first, when I reached out to you about the interview, I'm not going to lie, I was intimidated. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, because I've seen his pictures and I got intimidated. That was the first thing that read through my mind. But then as I talked to you and I formed a conversation with you and just that bond, shout outs to K2X. Happy birthday, baby. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to his YouTube channel. When I first reached out to you for the interview about coming on the show, I was a little intimidated. I said, oh my God, I'm probably going to get cursed out and all of these things and more. But then as we talked and we bonded and we formed that good kinship and that good conversation, it just went on to a whole nother level. And look at us now. So yes, 100%. But it is right, misconception. It's so many misconceptions about people out here. Like, I've learned, that's my lesson I've learned for the day. Never judge a book by its cover. You never know what a person's story could be. You never know what a person been through. You never know what could be going on.
Exactly.
But yeah, 100%. To find out. You're so welcome, baby. I hope you're enjoying your birthday and say piece of cake for me. But yes, what is another thing that you love to do in your spare time when you're not working? Because I know you said, like I said it again, and shout outs to all the essential workers out here. It has not been easy. It's been a lot. 2020 has taught us a lot. What has 2020 taught you?
Let's see here. Things that I like to do on my off time or just in spare time. You know, I like spending time with my children. I enjoy reading, you know. I'm an outdoorsman, so, you know, I like to hike and, you know, go camping, that type of thing, fishing, and, you know, I enjoy that. In 2021, things that have really impacted me in response to this pandemic is just the awareness that, you know, a lot of this that we were previously chasing or preoccupied with, or, you know, things that you thought were all that important and necessary in life and necessity aren't really that, you know. It really brought you back home, you know, behind closed doors amongst you and your people, and hopefully gave a reawakening and focus on what is important: self, you know, family, friends, you know, and spending time trying to find means of progression, of change, of adjustment. So that's what 2021 has taught me, you know, in response to being within, you know, this level of confinement or this level of solitude.
Yes, and more importantly, to unite our own people. That's what 2020 has taught me. And it's just like that big cloud, that big dark cloud has been lifted off of America just a little bit, but we still got a lot of work to do. So now we can finally breathe. We don't have to worry about somebody hovering over us. And we know who that somebody is. He's been in the White House for 8 years. We're not even going to mention his name.
Yeah.
But he's had enough time, and January 6th, that was enough for me right there. Yeah. So
that was definitely a collective blessing right there to, you know.
Absolutely. 100%. And it has taught us a lot that we have to unite. We have to continue to stay cool and unite and just do what we have to do, because there's a lot of work to do within this system. There's so much that has to be dismantled, especially for our Black men when it comes to mass incarceration, and our Black women as well too. It's a lot that needs to be done and fixed, and I can't state that enough. Like, we have a lot of work to do. So just because we went out there and we did what we did at those polls, don't let that stop. You know, we still have to be the change that we want to see within our communities. And I can see that with you, because you're an essential worker, you're a father, and it's not an easy task having to balance all of these things. Like, it's never a balance. You have to keep doing what you have to do.
Right. You gotta, you gotta wear many hats, You definitely have to take on, different roles and be able to multitask and balance it all. It's not easy, but it's definitely something that, each individual can take on as a form of mastery, So, yes.
And to my parents out there, to all these essential workers out there, it might seem like it's difficult now, but what you're doing is you're saving lives. There's thousands of people out here who have lost loved ones, relatives, family members, and they're still struggling. Mother's Day is Sunday, you guys, and I know it's going to be difficult for some of you out here to
Happy Mother's
have to celebrate that day without your mom or whomever. Disregard the dog barking in the background, dog. That's my mom and the dog. Sorry about that. But like I was saying, it's difficult for a lot of people because they've lost their family members. And just to have that solid bond, the one woman who brought you into this world, a lot of people don't have that. My mom and my dad are still here. They're still living. And whereas some people, they don't have their mom or dad in their life. So it's difficult. So this song Change could get them through. Not only is this a song about unity and healing, but it's more importantly about self-reflection. Like you said in the beginning of the interview, Michael Jackson even said it in his song, looking at the man in the mirror. So what are some things that you would change about yourself? What are some things that I would need to fix in order to continue to be successful and be the best version of myself I can be? And even I, because I'm not perfect, as beautiful as I am, I've been told. But I'm not perfect, you guys, and neither is Carvil. None of us are. We all make mistakes at the end of the day. And what advice would you give to people out there? Because I know, like you said, you're a father, and I'm pretty sure as your kids grow, as your babies grow, they're going to come to you and they're going to be like, Dad, what do I need to do if they decide to get into this industry, this music industry? We know how it is. We know how crazy it is. What advice would you give to them?
The advice that I would give is to lean on your third eye. Always keep God first. We hear that as, sometimes it sounds a little cliche, and it's easy to say more so than it is to do. But in every pursuit, find space, find time, find in yourself, find beyond yourself, better yet, placing God first at best. Again, in the world that we live in today, it's hard pressed to do that. We're surrounded by temptations and, all kind of different, just all kind of different signals and messages coming our way. It's hard to weed through the bombardment of it all. So, but however, it's I think, in my opinion, one of the most valuable weapons and tools that you can use in life, period. Not necessarily just this industry, but in life itself. You got to have something to pull from that's greater than you, And so if you can find that moniker, that something that pulls you that is greater than yourself that you could adhere to as a guiding light, you know, as a point of reference, then my advice would be to use that, you know what I'm saying, as your torch. And it'll light the path for you. You know, it's not a, it's, you know, it doesn't come ready made for you, but there are, you know, by the grace of God, there are, you know, there are lights out there for you to, you know, for you to follow. And so I would definitely say, you know, God, you know, and whatever that may be, you know, we all have our spiritual choices. We all have our beliefs, and whatever that may be, as long as it's positive, you know, as long as it's pulling you and gravitating you toward the right direction, not only in terms of yourself, but in terms of others, because a lot of times we get caught up so much in self that we don't realize how self has its effect on others. So, you know, as long as that change, as long as your motivations are wanting for others what you want for yourself, then you won't track.
Oh, but well, ladies, hold on tight, ladies. Let me y'all just straightforward with it. Control yourselves, Kimmy. All right. Love to give a shout out to my girl Fashionista. You guys know, again, Mother's Day is this Sunday. Get the woman of your life something very, very special. Go and shop Fashionista. When I tell you the pieces, ladies, you won't be disappointed. They are bodycon. They are fit to hug your curves. Please go and shop Fashionista, and she's based in Atlanta. Black owned. Please go and support that. We all about supporting our black owned businesses up in here. So let me get to Miss Kimmy. Miss Kimmy said she was straightforward with it. Go ahead, girl. I'm not mad at you. She said the song is nice. I'm sure you get a lot of women chasing you. Are you in a relationship with anyone? Y'all, I didn't ask. The audience asked.
Yes, presently I am in a relationship with someone.
And that's a blessing. Love is love. You are so welcome, girl. We all about supporting our black-owned businesses here. And it's so many. Like, a lot of people have become a lot, how can I say it? They become very creative during the quarantine. Like, a lot of people have put their creative juices to flow and just to the test and started their own businesses. There's the first black-owned ice cream company, I think, in Atlanta or down here in North Carolina, one of these states. Is so many black-owned businesses out here. Even with me, when this thing first hit, did you have any idea that it was going to affect music or anything for you? Has it been difficult for you to get your music out here the way you want to? Because I know you want to go out there and perform and do so many things, and this is just hindering it.
Yeah, it was challenging, particularly with the video for Change. Initially, we had in the you know, in the creative part of Change, we had a lot more elements involved than what was allowed as a consequence of businesses, locations that were affected by the pandemic. So we couldn't do as much as we wanted to in the video for Change. So it did have its effect on, you know, me musically, creatively, as it has everyone else. No, initially, I never really imagined that it would be as impactful, and I never imagined the duration as long as it's been with us here. We're almost into the second year, you know, of this experience. So it's, you know, like others, it's really been surprising to me, you know, in terms of how it's affected everyday living, as well as those who aren't living here any longer as a, you know, as an effect. And so to those, you know, I send my condolences. I've seen it firsthand, you know, I've dealt with it firsthand on an ongoing basis. And it's really been, you know, it's really been eye-opening in terms of, you know, again, the value of life and how you spend the tokens of life, you know, time here, you know. So yeah.
And we've not only that, Carvil, but we've lost so many hip hop giants along the way. We've lost,
Yeah.
was it Prince Mark D from, I can't remember the name of the group. He did the song with Tupac. We've lost DMX. We've lost Black Rob. Like, the list goes on and on. We're losing so many of our hip hop giants out here. And if this hasn't taught us anything, is give people, Jocelyn Hernandez, even though, y'all, she's crazy. She's crazy. She's got her show on Zeus Network. What she said to Wendy Williams really stood out, which is give people their flowers while they're here.
While they're here.
Because you never know when it could be someone's dying day on their deathbed and when you really need them. Trust. We've seen it happen, and Carvil here, he is not only just an incredible rapper, but he is also an essential worker. So again, shout outs to all the essential workers out there. Shout outs to our girl Talana, Exclusive, who's the owner of our sponsor for the show, Exclusive Beauty. She's an essential worker. And she's out here working with patients, testing them, making sure that they're getting the vaccine, all this stuff. It's a lot. Make sure you guys are being safe. And again, to add on to that, we have to be able to move forward. We have to be able to move forward. If we go back and result 500 years, we're not going to be able to progress. So with this being said, give people their flowers while they're here. Celebrate them, love on them, cherish them. Because so many people, again, Mother's Day is this Sunday, and so many people have lost their grandmothers, they've lost their moms, they've lost their grandfathers, the most people that they're close to. And I know for me, if I was to lose my mom, it would really tug, like, I don't know how I would take that. I just don't want to imagine. And I've seen, because I've lost a sister as well, too, and that was back in the year of August 2018. And just seeing the look on my mom's face as we lay my sister to rest, it was something. That's the look I will never forget. It was the look I will never forget. I couldn't even go to view the body the day of before the funeral. I couldn't do it. Me nor my cousin, so we just stayed back at her house and just reminisced, talk about her, and she, you know, tell stories about her legacy and so many things. And I know every parent out there says this. You don't want to have to bury a child before it's your time to go. But that's the last thing I would want to do, and it would be the opposite around. I wouldn't want to have to lay my mom to rest or bury her, because that would really, really hurt me throughout the years. I just can't imagine it. But for people out there who've lost a loved one or a family member, just remember that they're inside of you. Their spirit and their memories and all of that lingers on. So it's up to you to continue their legacy. Everybody has a legacy, good or bad. You have to remember that. What you put out there is what you get. So treat people with respect and decency. And that's what my mom always taught me when it came to having guests on my show or working with whomever. Make sure that you're treating people with the decency and respect. And I've seen so many people out here, essential workers, being mistreated. And I know y'all have seen the videos of them out here driving in the Uber cars and then having to work with all these crazy passengers. Like, y'all are mistreating these essential workers out here when they're doing nothing but a service to help you out. They don't have to, but they do it because they're trying to feed their families. Give these people some slack. Let these people help out and do what they need to do. 100%. So that's why I would never disrespect any of our essential workers out here, whether they're at the postal service, mailmen, the grocery store, the restaurants, wherever they are working. Give these people some slack and give them their help. 100%. It doesn't cost a thing.
Right. No, mutual respect is always deserving for everyone. There are those moments in time where people, bring on a different response than respect. But, we should always be stepping out in our engagement with others with mutual respect. Again, wanting for others what you want for yourself. And hopefully what you want for yourself is the best. So, it's only right in word and action that you want, the best for others. So, it's just one of those, golden rules along the list of golden rules, So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. We all play an important part, in the function of this planet, so we're all deserving of the level of respect that, that comes with that.
Absolutely. And again, shout outs to my girl Fashion Rista. She's in the comments. She made a point on her live as well, which is basically the same thing that I'm saying. Treat people how you want to be treated. So don't be out here mistreating these essential workers, you know, throwing money at them, doing all of these things, mistreating these people when they're not doing anything but trying to make a living because they don't have a choice. Some people don't have the luxuries of staying home. They don't, you know, they don't have the luxuries. They're not Cardi B or anybody. I know for me, I'm not Cardi B or Beyonce or anybody. I don't have that luxury of just staying home. I have to go out and help and do what I need to do to make sure that myself as well as my family are safe and they're okay. Whether it's my grandmother or my aunt or my mom or my dad, whomever. And my brother, he lives not far from me. He's all the way in Charleston, so that's nothing but a drive all the way here. But even up there, I make sure that they're okay, that they're cool, him and his girlfriend. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we just have to make sure that we're looking out for one another as well as these essential workers out here too. Because, listen, they could be here today and they could be gone tomorrow. I remember getting the news about DMX. When I first seen it, I was shocked. I was devastated. Where were you when you found out about DMX passing?
I was actually at work. I was at work. And, you know, it came across through the rumor mill initially. So, you know, we were hearing conflicting reports on it. You know, at one point, he was, you know, he was alive. You know, you'd hear other stories that he had passed. And then, you know, the final call on it came through where he had actually, you know, left us. So I was at work, you know, and it was, you know, it was one of those things, you know, I had the pleasure of actually meeting DMX, not in the most, you know, not in the most fortunate circumstances at the time. Both of us were incarcerated in Arizona together in Tent City. For all those out there.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Phoenix, Arizona, you know. So yeah, that was, you know, it was, you know, coming up as a fan of the DMX and then being in a situation like that with him, you know, in that environment was, you know, was unexpected, you know, in all things. But, you know, he was an everyday brother. He was a genuine brother. You know, his messages were sincere and passionate and thoughtful. And he's going to be missed. He's going to be greatly missed. I was really hoping to see him, you know, expand, you know, not necessarily outside of the music, but expand in terms of his impact, you know, beyond music, you know. So to lose him was, you know, it was a sad moment. It was a sad moment.
And it hit us so hard. Like at first, like you said, I agree 100% that it definitely was conflicting reports because they were saying he was alive, he just woke up, he's making moves, and then that just happened. It took us all by surprise. And then when I first seen it, I was scrolling on Instagram because you guys know I'm a fashion girl, and I was going through and I was looking at Vogue and all the other fashion news outlets, and then I seen the news from TMZ. I'm just like, wait, this can't be true. Because at first, they're saying that he's brain dead. Then it came out that he was pronounced as dead. And that's when I was just like, oh, boy. I already knew where this was going. They took him out for life support. They put him back. I'm just like, all of these things. Like, what do you want us to believe? Is he alive or is he not alive? And then when we got that news, it took me by surprise. I'm just like, wow. Gone too soon. It takes me back to the day that we lost Michael Jackson. Because nobody could believe that he was gone, and the day we also lost Kobe Bryant. So it's been a hell of a year. It's been an emotional roller coaster ride for sure. And my advice to people out here when it comes to our mental health, Black people, our brothers and sisters, make sure that you are taking care of you because you only get one body. And my mom told me that today because she noticed you have been at it, girl. You've been on and on these interviews back to back to back, but when will you ever find time for yourself? So I'm definitely going to start taking the advice of her. She said, I'm sick and I'm going to the doctor's, doing doctor's appointments and all of these things. No need to worry. She's doing well. But she said, you better make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that goes for all of us as Black people when it comes to our mental health. And I never knew that you were incarcerated, but that's a point. Mass incarceration does something to our brothers and sisters out here. That trauma, that psychological trauma, it lives with Black people forever. Again, that slave mentality. We have been oppressed. We have been we face so many forms of racism against us. There's so many challenges against us in the world just from being black. And that mental health is something that we have to make sure that we are protecting. I'm telling you.
Right, right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of
okay.
hard pressed, you know, as black men in particular in this country. It's kind of hard pressed to get through this lifetime unscathed by the system of incarceration. You know,
Yes.
you know, we deal with a lot of challenges, unlike other groupings here, and we're so targeted, you know, alongside a lot of, you know, just taking on self-responsibility, accountability, you know, of ourselves too, and getting caught up in these traps and these pitfalls. You know, it's you know, again, it's hard pressed to find you know, not too many brothers that have not had that experience, you know. And a lot of times, you know, it's not always as you know, it's not as always bad in a sense in terms of what that person has been incarcerated for. You know, again, you could pull over now these days and fully cooperate with the police and all, and you won't get a chance to go to jail. You'll get your first ride to your, you know, to the graveyard, you know. So yeah, I went through my you know, my experiences dealing with the law, with courts, you know, with my own involvement in crime, you know, and taking again responsibility for my own actions. But it's definitely something that you can make a change out of, you know. We don't always put ourselves in those situations, but you can get out of that situation positively in a lot of cases if that is your desire. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be an ongoing shackle on your ankle because you've gone through that experience. You know, you definitely can recover from that experience like any other a lot of times. So, yeah.
And I made that face. I kind of smiled a little bit because I was like, I wasn't going to bring the conversation up about police, but he's saying everything that I have kind of been saying throughout the week, which is, you know, pulling over and complying with the police. If you look like you're reaching for something, if you looking like you're about to itch or even make a move, they pull the gun out on you. Racial profile, all of these things and more. So it's a whole conversation that needs to be had on how police interact with us as black people in this country. I know my interaction would not be the same interaction. Well, it could, because I mean, look at what happened with Ma'Khia Bryant and Breonna Taylor.
Right.
And we've clearly seen that.
Right.
Black women are being killed by police too.
Just as well.
And yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, there's seems to be, you know, no restraint, you know, on who could be a possible victim of police violence. You know, women, men, children, elder, you know.
Yes.
It's like open season right now, particularly on our people, but it's something that's nothing new. It's absolutely nothing new. It's been ongoing, you know, for the last 400 plus years that our people have been here in this country. So, you know, to look at it like it's some new phenomenon is just putting blindfolds on yourself. What we're experiencing now is no more than what our parents and grandparents, and you going all the way back to Plymouth Rock. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, our people collectively are going to have to decide on making a change in approach on how to change it, you know. I'm sorry, having some technical. It's not going to come from begging and pleading these people to be nice to us. You know, we've been doing that. You know, we've been begging and pleading.
For years.
We've been protesting. We've been marching, you know, the whole nine. So some different approach has to be implemented, and for us to see something slightly different, you know, because now this continued approach that we have in all this protesting and so forth, you know, it's just like they say, what is the cliche phrase of, you know, if you continue to doing the same thing or something like that, that's a sign
insanity.
And yes, expecting something different is a sign of insanity. And just looking at my people, being amongst my people, hey man, I think we crazy. You know, I think we're crazy to continue to think that this approach here is going to do anything different than generations and generations before us, you know, have done in itself. So it has to be a different form of Protestantism here, or protesting here. You know, it has to be a different kind of approach to this right here. Let me.
And someone, yes. And someone asked, I'm going to get to some of the audience questions because this is an amazing conversation, and then we're going to wrap up this amazing interview. I wouldn't even really consider it an interview, but more so like a conversation and opening awareness into what's going on in this country with this song, Change, just based off of that. Someone asked an amazing question. Shout outs to the Prototype. He wants to know, has losing any of the hip-hop giants discouraged you from your music or made you feel any emotion about your music just with their passing?
Well, no. If anything, it's been, it's been motivating in terms of like carrying on the torch. You know, you carry the torch where it was left off at, you pick it up and you keep it moving, you keep it going. You know, like we were just mentioning, talking about DMX, for all the artists out there that have any kind of respect or, any kind of recognition of the art, of the mastery of DMX and what he contributed, then what you can do, in honor of is carry that torch. Look at his body of work, right? And you find in his body of work something that you can exemplify, something that you can replicate, something that you can bring to the table that he left, that maybe he missed in his, in his laying out. So just being able to pull from, from his example, and again sharing the world, your approach at it. So it wasn't discouraging for me. It was more, again, encouraging, because it just gives you inspiration. That's if you value, if you value that, then it will give you the inspiration to carry on, the flame, keep the flame burning for all our passing, all our ancestors in hip hop and in any other walk of life. We all should be trying to represent, as we say, represent, in yourself, and representing those others that are worthy of, representing.
I agree 100%. Do we have any last questions for Carvil, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up this magnificent conversation? Because there's so much that we kind of unpacked in just an hour on injustice, just based off of this song, Change. It's a powerful song. It's groundbreaking. If you guys have not seen the imagery in the video, where he had the black men that were in the orange jumpsuits, the jail, everything. It was just the imagery, your imagery, the vision for this video, when you put it together, it just came together so beautifully. And it has a message, which is there's so much that's going on in our country when it comes to injustice and racism and oppression and mass incarceration, all of these things and more that are affecting us as black people. And not only just as black people, but our black men out here. So I love the fact that you included that in your video as well too, and not just, the basics. Where I've seen a lot of rap artists just include Trayvon Martin and Breonna Taylor, just pictures of them. Like we get the picture, but we want y'all to show us something a little different as well too, because it's a lot of things that we have to fix within the system. Because if not, that system is going to continue. Like Carvil said, that insanity is going to continue over and over and over again. That's just like, for example, if I keep eating something that I know that is poisonous and it's killing me on the inside, and I continue to eat it, and the next thing you know, I'm dead. So you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's called insanity.
Right. And
so,
and thinking you're going to get different results, other than what you've been getting. So exactly. And the scenes that you see in the video, with the brothers in the orange jumpsuits depicting life in prison, the song was in purpose to show that, hey, in any place, in anywhere, you can always effectively enact change. You know, no matter what the constraint is, no matter what the situation is, there's a form of change that can be made, if no more than with yourself. So, you know, giving inspiration to the brothers behind bars, behind gates, to those, you know, in bed, infirmed in hospitals, for those in any given situation that you may be in. You can always find some inkling, some spot of change that can perhaps get you out of that situation that you're in. So, but it all comes back to self. You know, it always starts at self. It always starts at home. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, last call for questions. Again, this was an amazing and powerful, riveting conversation, and I hope you guys took something from this 100%, because there's a lot that we need to fix, a lot that we need to work on. And we can't do it alone. We have to depend on each other as Black people, because we all have something in common. We're all oppressed. We're all oppressed, and we're all facing different types of racism from different walks of life. They don't care if you're rich. They don't care if you're poor. They don't care. If you're Black in this country, it's like it's a crime. So we have to continue to keep speaking out and calling out these politicians. I'm not going to call names, but the most recent one that was on television tap dancing, and he knows who he is. So I'm going to leave it at there, because, see, I could go in. I'm restraining myself. I'm being a lady for Carvil today. I'm being a lady.
I want to believe I know what you're talking about.
I could go in. But if we don't have any more questions, we're going to conclude it here. But is there anything you would love to tell your followers? Because this song Change is getting such mad noise. Like, everybody loves it.
Hey, I just want to say thank you. You know, it's just, you know, I appreciate, you know what I'm saying, the reception I've gotten from it, the response I've gotten for it. It's my first single release as an independent artist. So, you know, all the support that I've gotten has been greatly appreciated and valued. And I just, you know, I look forward to growing with my audience, growing with my fans, and continuing to, you know, to bring them quality, you know, quality messages, quality sound, you know. Of course, I can get on here trying to shake your ass, and I want to do that too, but I also want to shake your mind. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we gotta encompass the full circle of the human being, of the human consciousness. It ain't just all, you know, the shit ain't all just, you know, fun and show. You know, we gotta walk away. We're not afforded the time and, you know, the resources to always be, you know, always taking shit for play. And, you know, so excuse my language, but you know, we gotta sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, the offerings of the world to provide our people with something they can really grow from, something they can be enriched by, you know. So you know, and you need the whole kaleidoscope of all the different aspects of hip hop, but we need more focus on what is going to develop our people and progress our people using this instrument of noise that we call hip hop. So, you know, to everyone out there, you know, thank you for listening, thank you for the embracement, and God bless. Stay safe.
And definitely we'll keep in touch with you, because we're waiting to see what is the next project going to be, an EP, a full EP. And shout outs to our girl, the Prototype. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't really see the picture. I don't have my glasses, y'all. She says, thank you for being a light with your music. Number one. Absolutely. It's powerful.
You're welcome, Prototype.
It's powerful. This song changed with Alonda Rich. So we will stay tuned. I might have to bring you back in September for the music special, because there's going to be a lot of talented musical artists coming on in September. A lot of our faves that I've had on this season are going to be coming back for the next season, probably sometime in September, man. I would love to bring you back. And hopefully you too, the Prototype. Love to have you on. All of the musical artists.
Thank you.
Forever. Yes.
Thank you again. Thank you for having me. And of course, again, I would love to come back. I appreciate it.
And thank you for coming to the Dollhouse. This has been a Style by Stevie exclusive with rapper, songwriter, Carvil Bond. Please go and check out the hit single Change featuring Alonda Rich, which is out right now. It's getting rave reviews. It is amazing. The Prototype, DM me, girl. Let's set up something. Definitely DM me and we'll set up something. But I love you all. I want y'all all to be safe and take something for this conversation. This is not an interview. This was more so like a conversation bringing awareness to what is going on in our country that needed to be talked about. It has been talked about for years, and that is racism and oppression. So please go and check out the hit single. Wash your hands, wear your mask. We don't believe in respectability politics here, but if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. But make sure that you guys are being safe more than importantly. Protecting your family members and loved ones. I love y'all and take care. And thank you, Carvil.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
You do the same.
You too.